Hey guys, welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm Ron Mackenzie Lafergie. There are a lot of great video games out there. Many of them push the boundaries, either being too racy or too violent or both. So let's go over some of my favorite games that made people go, wait, what? Get ready, here are my top 10 controversial video games. Number 10. Hatred. Hatred is a shoot 'em up game where the player just runs around killing people. That's the whole point of the game. It's not Grand Theft Auto where you can do this but have other stuff to do. It's just what the game is, which as you'd expect drew some controversy. The worst part though is that the game turned out to be pretty bad, being called Postal Light by some reviewers. And don't worry, I'll be talking about Postal later. Number 9. Doom. This is a game that came out before violence in video games had become the norm, and it faced pretty significant criticism because of it. As gamers, I'm sure the vast majority of you know about Doom and its love of blood. And for most people, the blood is just a cool way to know you're doing damage. But for parents in the 90s, Doom was basically Satan. It sparked quite a bit of controversy due to the violence in the game, but that didn't stop it from becoming one of the most popular shooters of all time, even played by the likes of Joe Rogan and Michelle Rodriguez. And they're cool, so if you play Doom, you're cool. Number 8. Bully. With Rockstar facing a fair bit of heat from their Grand Theft Auto games, they decided to play it safe with their 2006 game Bully, a well-received action-adventure game. This game was actually quite good, but of course with good games comes people who hate games. It was claimed that the game glorified school bullying, and many people had a problem that the character could kiss other characters, including a boy. Pray away the gay, Jimmy. As a guy who was bullied as a kid, I can definitely relate, but come on people, it's a game, and it's a good game. Get over it. Number 7. Manhunt. That's right, more Rockstar. But I'm not even sorry, they love their controversial games, and I love them for it. Manhunt was more or less destined to be controversial because it's one of the most violent games ever, especially at the time, where you kill your enemies in creative and gory ways. What makes this most offensive and controversial, however, was the fact that it was blamed for the murder of a 14-year-old boy. And while it turned out that it was not the murderer, but the victim who played the game, so the game wasn't actually involved, by then the damage had been done. Number 6. South Park, The Stick of Truth. This game was so good, but was definitely not adult friendly. And I mean real adults, not, adults like me who love that stuff. Is it shocking that a game that forces you to be called douchebag would be considered controversial? Hell no. But if a South Park game didn't offend a bunch of people, it would be a failure of a game. And Stick of Truth was definitely not a failure. While this didn't spark as much outrage as other games on this list, mostly because society has basically just accepted that video games are going to be gross, it still faced some controversy, particularly due to one scene in an abortion clinic that caused the game to be censored pretty harshly in some places. Number 5. Death Race. This was a super early video game found in arcades, but that didn't stop people from complaining about it. Death Race was based on the movie Death Race 2000 and involved running over gremlins in your car. The controversy arose when people pointed out that the gremlins looked an awful lot like people. Plus the game was originally called Pedestrians, which is pretty suspicious. It seems like they were going to make it about running over people, but they changed it so it wouldn't offend people. Mission not accomplished. Number 4. Mortal Kombat. Surprise, surprise, a game that's famous for its incredibly brutal fatality scenes was controversial. Nowadays, the violence in Mortal Kombat is kind of par for the course in video games, although it does still have the ability to gross us out at times. But back in 1992, when the first Mortal Kombat game came out, the world was stunned at the violence and gore in it. There was so much pushback that the blood was changed to green, and many of the fatalities were changed to be less shocking. Damn. Number 3. Grand Theft Auto. Pretty much all of them. This one's definitely not a surprise to most of you. It's pretty much the definitive controversial game. Taking heat from stupid adults everywhere, it's often blamed for convincing kids to go out and commit crime. While I don't think this is the case, and much of the scientific literature agrees, I gotta admit that whenever I've gone on a particularly long GTA binge, I find myself seeing nice cars and thinking, I could totally steal that. But then I remember that I'm a little pansy and I keep walking. But yeah, with all the sex, drugs, and violence of the GTA series, it's no surprise that the games are controversial as hell. Number 2. Postal 2. This is a game where you're just going through your everyday life and doing various chores and errands. The only controversial bit is the small fact that these errands often end in a brutal killing spree. What could possibly go wrong? Well, Running with Scissors, the company that made the game, found out when the game was banned in several countries. This was seen as so controversial that sale, distribution, and even possession of the game is a criminal offense in New Zealand, after it was banned by the Office of Film and Literature Classification. That said, the game remains a classic shooter game, and there's even a remastered version on the way. Definitely gonna get that. Number 1. Ethnic cleansing. This one has to be number 1. It almost doesn't qualify because it's so uncontroversially hated by everyone. Why? because it's a game made by white supremacists for white supremacists. That's right, you play as either a neo-Nazi or a Klansman and you kill minorities. The worst part? It was released on Martin Luther King Day. Alright, that's probably not the worst part, but it's not good. This is the one game that I would definitely suggest not playing, but if you do insist on trying it, it's also the one game that I would advocate pirating, because you don't want to give money to white supremacists. And if you do, I have a nifty little machine here for you. That's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you like what we're doing here at Top 10 Gaming, please smack that thumbs up button and subscribe to Top 10 Gaming for more videos. Let me know in the comments which of these games was your favorite, or if you know any other controversial games. Until next time, I'm Ron Mackenzie Lafergie with Top 10 Gaming. Later, gamers.